Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 256 of Show For You, where today we'll be going over chapter 39 of the JoJolands, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 9. And holy smokes, do we have a hog leg of a chapter this week. First line, right after the JoJolands title, you know what we see? The awaited return of the fifth member. Yes! We're getting Charming Man back! Yes! My goat is coming back. Big Mouth will strike again because we're going to get to see Charming Man again. And he's talked about in this chapter. He doesn't actually join back in this chapter, but they're going to the island where he lives, which is like, I don't know if it's supposed to be Hawaii, because it's spelled the same as Hawaii. It might be Hawaii because there's an apostrophe, but yeah. So, we see this, and the chapter kind of starts off with us seeing as Usagi kind of tells his mom, people have started to view me as, some people have seen me as less than even a disposable item in a video game. And he just kind of explains how that made him feel, why he felt like this, and that he is going to, in fact, be of use. He's going to get the $300,000 back for him, and he's going to find Tori. He tells her all of that. So then we get a very cool scene between Dragona and Jodio. And we see, as they just kind of discuss, Dragona, discusses her guilt, their guilt, sorry. And they just discuss how, they feel as if all that Jodio has went through, all Jodio's wrong turns, have been because of them. And Dragona just kind of starts to break down and everything. And Jodio is like, not really, because he mentions about how he's in this current, crazy world. And he's like, I'm not fazed by it. I'm kind of enjoying this. I'm excited. I'm having fun. So Jodio goes on his plane, and Dragona mentioned about how they felt as if they took in a bright and shining future of a very high quality, intelligent high school student away from Jodio. However, Jodio's like, no, if we continue to follow our path, being bright and shining only means that you have potential to achieve your goals. And he's like, if we continue along on our goals and get this money and become filthy rich, then we still have this shining future ahead of us, which is very cool on Jodio's part. So then after that, very cool, but very kind of deep for a 15-year-old. But also all the Joestars are hyper intelligent. So, but yeah. So we see then as they are progressing to the underground parking garage, they finally get there, and Usagi, Paco mentions about how Usagi's getting a little bit loopy, but they ultimately do find the person they're supposed to meet there, and it was Dr. Roberts. Yeah, Roberts, not Rogers. And they find Dr. Roberts. They end up taking Usagi down there. He starts to operate on his foot and all that. And Dr. Roberts is like, I don't want any questions. I don't want you to ask me questions. I don't want to ask questions myself. Keep me out of this. So we kind of see as they go about it. And then they kind of, oh my gosh, they kind of start to discuss the code that Rohan left them with. And Jodio's kind of speaking about it, and he's kind of speaking on how he had hypothesized that it was different things, and ultimately he comes to the conclusion that it must be within Rohan's works. That's why he was talking about Jodio being the #1 fan. So we then see as Jodio kind of has a little bit of, showing that he is still a kid, he gets to a little bit of fanboying about, I think it's Pink Dark Boy is the name of the manga, and he mentions about how volume 15, page 92 is his favorite page out of all the series, but he also mentions about how there's 120 other volumes, and just kind of has a brief discussion about Pink Dark Boy. And we can see he kind of slowly weeds this out until he ultimately comes to the idea that the information for the code must be in Rohan's most recent manuscripts, and that manuscript, he believes, may have already released because of the time difference between Hawaii and Japan. So we see as he decides, I'm going to take my phone out of the concealment bag. So he starts to do this, and everyone else is like, whoa, you probably need to watch this. And he ultimately gets his phone out for a brief moment, and then they hear something on the roof. There is something on the roof. So he drops the phone back in the bag, closes it, and then it busts through the roof. John Rod is back! And he busts down. They're able to escape before anything crazy happens. But Dr. Roberts is just left with this beast of a stand here, and he's freaking out. He's like, and we see that all John Rod does, it lets this little ball form up, where it has the little goosebump looking things, destroys the phone bag, just stands there in front of Dr. Roberts for a second with his hip pose, kind of aura looking thrust, and not thrust, but pose, I guess, and leaves. It just bye-bye. It just heads off. So yeah, after this, we see as Dr. Roberts is reasonably freaking out, and then we end up swapping back to the people who were in the submarine, and kind of see as they talk and everything, and also Jodio ultimately deduces down, this won't be released until 12 a.m. So I actually just brought down John Rod on us for no reason, and they kind of yap about that a little bit more. He's like, okay, it will come out at 5 a.m. in Hawaii, and they ultimately are starting the progression towards the actual island of Hawaii. And they're like, You know who lives on Hawaii? The GOAT, Charming Man. And they're going to reunite with Charming Man. They're trying to get in contact with him through analog means. And we then see, as we flash back to Dr. Roberts, who's in the van where he was healing up Usagi, and he's still freaking out. He's like, I didn't want to ask any questions. Why did it come after me? He's freaking out. I mean, reasonably so. And that is cool, though, because we do know that Dr. Roberts is a stand user now. I don't know if we've seen his stand prior, but we do know that he's a stand user because he saw John Rod. So, yeah, that's all there really was for the chapter itself. But holy smokes, like I said, that was a hog leg of a chapter. It was so good. Literally so hyped. Like, honestly, I liked it better than the last chapter, than chapter 38. Chapter 39 was, and I'm really excited too because it's my first chapter actually reading JoJo's Monthly since I finally got caught up last month. So yeah, I'm just really enjoying it, and I actually want to get into a theory I have now. The theory is to who is the stand user for John Rod. I have a hypothesis, and it may sound a little crack pipe, a little stupid. I think Meryl May could be John Rod's stand user. Now, I propose this because what we've seen of John Rod really hasn't done anything like malignant or malicious towards the Joe Bros and Jodio and Dragona. So, it could just not be an enemy stand. It didn't attack Dr. Roberts. It didn't attack Usagi. The only individual that is attacked is a bag of phones and Mundra. And Mundra was a villain. Mundra was an op. So therefore, it killed him. Now, if this was Meryl May's stand, that would all make sense. Meryl May told them not to take the phones out of the bag because that would cause troubles. And it comes and destroys the phones, so they don't have the chance to destroy the phones again. Why would Meryl May kill Usagi? There's no reason for her to kill Usagi because Usagi is one of the members of the team and he is helping out. Why would Meryl May kill Dr. Roberts? But not kill Dr. Roberts? Because as they were like questioning in the beginning of the chapter, Dr. Roberts might be Meryl May's lover. So Meryl May would not have killed Usagi. Meryl May would not have killed Dr. Roberts. Meryl May would have killed Mundra because Mundra is an enemy. And now Meryl May would have destroyed the phones. It's reasonable to presume that she would destroy the phones to keep anyone from messing up again. She wants this money and all of everything to come to fruition just as much as anyone else. And if she is the big boss, I mean, most of the time they don't play a role. However, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to presume that she would want to play a role in the world of this fight. Now, we don't even know if Meryl May is a stand user or not. I don't believe so. Yet, we do. It's not stupid to presume that Meryl May is a stand user. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, like, I know it is highly unlikely. However, also, I know this is just because they're just kind of speaking on what Meryl May was talking about, but the panel directly after John Rod shows up, you know whose name is said? Meryl May. That's probably just coincidence. But I believe this is a possibility. Like, I genuinely think this could be a chance. Because, I mean, it's as good of a guess as any. Because, like, we'd have no clue who John Rod's user is. And we know it's not Howler's, so we don't know. We can likely presume that it's not. Well, if Howler is the big villain, I don't really know if we can consider him the big villain, but we do know that he's still out there doing things. But, like, I think it may be Meryl May. I might be stupid for this. Like I said, I might be smoking the crack pipe. However, I think there's evidence to point towards John Rod's stand user being Meryl May because it has not committed any antagonistic acts against the Joe Bros and, like I said, Jodio and Dragona. It hasn't done anything besides assist them in their goals because if those phones hadn't been destroyed, then Jodio would have whipped it back out and tried to figure it out. And then they could have possibly got tracked by another stand. And okay, if you don't put into account the phone usage, and it was only brief, it's even, like, well, I don't know if you're able to, well, like, I really don't know how this bag works, but, like, Jodio didn't turn the phone on. So, I mean, it is possible to presume that it wasn't releasing the signal at that time. And, you know, the only person who knew where they were? Meryl May. So, like I said, that is also another bit of a stretch because, I mean, you can't just track a phone when it's not on. It can be completely turned off. You can track it. But still, I think it's not too much of a crackpot conspiracy, and I hope to see if I am right predicting it after 2 chapters of John Rod. I'm gonna be gloating till the cows come home. Like, holy smokes. But yeah, that's all I really have for chapter 39 of the JoJolands, and that's all I really have for episode 256. No, 256 of Shelf Review. So, thank you very much for watching.